On May 31st, 1889, we saw one of the major disasters in our country's history occur here in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Right out here, where there is no longer a dam. And part of the reason for that, it burst. On that fateful day, on May 31st of 1889, about 3:15, the dam failed, and the area that's behind me here used to be filled with one heck of a lake, owned by the South Fork Hunting Club, a group of very, very rich owners, including a guy by the name of Andrew Carnegie. When the dam failed, it sent over 20 million tons of water rushing downstream around the corner and eventually got to Johnstown. Right here, this is the original house, on one of the original houses on site. But when that water hit town, it took it out in about 10 minutes, killing over 2,200 people. When you come to this site up here where the original dam used to be, there is a visitor center run by the National Park Service right here at the Johnstown Flood National Memorial. Nice building, bathrooms, the whole 9 yards, and some really nice displays inside as well. When the water came down through the valley, as you can see, this is the town back here. Obviously a lot was rebuilt. This thing came through, slammed down the valley, and let's face it, they were already dealing with a flood. They were already dealing with one of the biggest floods they already had. When the dam gave way, you took a flood and added 20 million tons of water on top of that, filled up this whole area. It brought everything you can imagine: sticks, logs, trees, houses, debris, anything that the water collected up, it came flying down here. So you had all kinds of stuff floating within the water, not to mention the water. As I said before, 2,200 people, more than 2,200 people died. That's what they could account for. Many of them were unknown. The Cambria Iron Works is right here in Johnstown. It existed at the time of the flood. In fact, it was the major employer. Unfortunately, through the years, it hasn't remained the major employer in this town, but at the time it was. In fact, Johnstown was Cambria, essentially. But when the water came down, it zipped through right over here, where this town is all set up. And it was already flooding. That's the thing you gotta understand, is Johnstown was already dealing with a flood. It already had feet of water on the streets, and then you added 20 million tons of water on top of that with all kinds of debris. We're talking full trees, logs, branches, chunks of houses, entire houses in some cases, coming down the water and filling this up. And then it caught on fire. There really was no warning. The bells rang, the Cambria whistles blew, but who knows what that means. 2,200 dead at minimum. Most of those unidentified. This is Grandview Cemetery. After the flood killed so many people, a lot of the bodies were unable to be identified, whether because they were burned so bad or mangled from the floodwaters and the associated debris, or because there was nobody left alive that knew who they were. 750 of the more than 2,000 unidentified dead were brought to this plot here at Grandview Cemetery. A final resting place for those that perished without anybody knowing who they were. I'm Jason Rude, and you're on the road with History Bridge.